Only delight in thee.
Hi everyone, welcome to another week of Motivating Monday. I'm Zilin, and it's a great honor and joy that I have this opportunity to actually present the next two segments on Motivating Monday. And so, if you don't already know, there was no topic or no specific topic assigned to me for these 2 weeks, and I decided to go with a two-part lesson on the topic of what motivates me. I think the brethren so far for the past year or so have been sharing many good lessons from different verses, as well as from themes, as well as putting in some anecdotes as well. And today I really want to, I would say, feel the ground, right? To really talk about what motivates me myself as an individual, and to hopefully stir some thoughts in you about what motivates you, and therefore motivate you on this Monday and for the week ahead. And so, as a quick reminder, right, a source of motivation refers to a reason or reasons for acting or behaving in a particular way. And specifically, I'm here to share about just two factors today, or two sources of motivation that I have on a pretty daily basis, right? Okay, first one, I think many of us can relate to, none other than food. Okay. So food is something that gets us through the day. I think we are all quite aware of that. It gives us the energy we require. And beyond that, I would say that the expectation of tasting a certain delicacy, it gives me something to look forward to, therefore serving as a source of motivation. It can be anything from a cup of iced coffee, latte, to a bowl of minced meat noodles, right? Dry with chili and vinegar for me. But while our meals are useful, short-term motivation checkpoints per se, right? Sometimes you are just going through a difficult morning at work. You look forward to that break, that lunch break, not just because of the rest, but sometimes because of the good food you can have. Okay. So let's briefly see what the Bible says, therefore, about the importance of food. In Matthew chapter 4, verses 1 to 11, we read of Jesus being tempted by the devil in the wilderness. Specifically, in verses 2 to 4, it reads, "And when he had fasted 40 days and 40 nights, he was afterward and hungered. And when the tempter came to him, he said, If thou be the Son of God, command that these stones be made bread. But he answered and said, It is written, Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God." So this was quoting Deuteronomy 8, verse 3. And what the devil suggested actually made sense, right? He was saying, why starve yourself to death? In fact, he knew that Jesus had the power to turn these stones into bread. But the thing is, what is written here actually made even more sense, right? Jesus' submission to God's timing and will in all things. That's one. Second, he was giving us all, as well as the devil, a solemn reminder of the importance of spiritual food above physical food. And let's also consider in John chapter 6, verse 35. "And Jesus said unto them, I am the bread of life. He that cometh to me shall never hunger, and he that believeth on me shall never thirst." So in this context, Jesus was trying to lift the Jews' understanding above their material physical needs, right? In the sense that we need to have our minds lifted as well. So in his answer, he was lifting up their eyes, from the bread, right? The physical bread, and onto spiritual realities. That was what it was all about. And we are reminded that he perfectly satisfies our spiritual hunger. And so my point is this, right? I talk about food. I love food. I think many of us love food. But my point is this. While we contemplate how we are going to feed our body today, right? Let us also consider how we are going to feed our souls today. Because there is a greater constant need for that as well. Right. So just, I encourage all of us, be it if it's the morning now, right? As you look forward to your lunch break, you might be thinking, what are you going to have for lunch? But let's try and have an additional, layer of motivation, a greater one, where we also think, okay, so what am I going to feed my soul later today? Right? So that's what I encourage all of us to think about. And while food can be enjoyed alone, I think it can also be better enjoyed sometimes when dining with friends, right? You can share a bigger variety of food, right? You get to sample various tastes, right? Rather than having something more one-dimensional yourself. And so another key source of motivation for me would be my friends, right? After a long day or even sometimes week, of work. The idea of meeting close friends for a simple meal or activity is something I truly look forward to, even if sometimes I don't fancy that activity so much. And in the working world, we often joke, right, that a group of 4 people or more, right, we will never be able to find a common date and time to meet, ending up postponing each occasion. And somehow, the friendship remains, but yet we just aren't able to meet as frequently anymore, right, due to our various commitments. But when these gatherings finally do happen, I always have a very good time, especially when contrasting it with the time spent at work. Without a doubt, having good friends who love and support us is essential to our well-being, because I think we aren't meant to get through life here alone. Once again, let's briefly see what the Bible has to say, in particular about Christian fellowship. Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verses 9 to 10. It reads, "Two are better than one, because they have a good reward for their labor. For if they fall, the one will lift up his fellow, but woe to him that is alone when he falleth, for he hath not another to help him up." So I think it is clearly important for us to have someone by our side when we are working hard towards a goal, right? And because he or she has actually helped us when we were in need, this person would similarly be able to share in our reward by knowing and understanding our accomplishments. If you think about it, sometimes when you share your accomplishments with a particular person, you do not get the reaction that you expect, right? And you end up feeling even disappointed. This is something that is very real. And the reason often is because when you go through the whole process together, that is when you are able to mutually lift each other up, to mutually celebrate, the highs as well as go through the lows together. And this is such an essential part of friendship as a form of motivation that keeps us going. But what about the type of friends we should associate with? Very quickly, let's see what the wise man in Proverbs says. Proverbs 13, verse 20. "He that walketh with wise men shall be wise, but a companion of fools shall be destroyed." And in chapter 27, verse 17. "Iron sharpeneth iron, so a man sharpeneth the countenance of his friend." And so as we look forward to spend time with friends, right, engaging in various activities, sharing our experiences with one another, let us also be mindful who we are doing these things with. Will your friends be open and honest with you, or merely tell you what you might want to hear? And is that, therefore, the right source of motivation we should be having? So let us always remember, what a friend we have in Jesus, right? We say that. And the closest friends we should have in our lives should really be friends who are likewise emulating him just as we are, striving to lead a Christ-like life. And so while friends, serve as a source of motivation for us to get by in our lives, let us be reminded on such occasions that Christ should be our greatest motivation as a friend in our Christian walk. Okay? So once again, I'm not diminishing the importance of friendships, right? Down here in earth, whether Christians or non-Christians. Obviously, there's an emphasis on having the Christian friends, a more solid circle, right, in your life. But let us always remember that while these friends motivate us on even a daily basis, is Christ doing likewise. And so I think you can see, what is my point here this morning, or whatever time it might be that you're watching this, right? As unique individuals, I think we are motivated by various sources, and these sources are specific to each of us. Today, I have shared just 2 quick ones on food and friends, right? We will see how next week's session goes. There are many more, and the list is, truly non-exhaustive, right? Whether it be family, finances, so on and so forth. But the key takeaway from this short sharing really is I encourage all of us, to be aware of what motivates you. Be aware, right? That key point of reflection. And from there, look at the bigger picture of the role God plays as our greatest motivator. Because I think this serves as a reminder of what we can do to continue pushing on in our Christian life. Always remembering that our final goal is heaven. Philippians 3:14, Paul wrote, "I press toward the mark for the prize of the high calling of God in Christ Jesus." That is what we should be doing too. And let us also be reminded that while sources of motivation, such as food and friends, are able to disappoint, sometimes the restaurant is closed or even closes down. Sometimes friends are late or they don't turn up. God will never disappoint us. So on this Motivating Monday, let our accumulative experiences realize that God, or the goal of going to heaven, should be our one true constant motivation for all of our lives. And let's continue to be reminded of this as we take note of our current sources of motivation. Where is God behind this motivation? Or how can I further look beyond this short-term motivation as to where God stands, right? And so my challenge to everyone now is, to truly reflect, think of what motivates you. Feel free to, leave a comment in the section below, right? In the comment section below. Just really, share with each other about what motivates you as an individual, right? I have shared on food and friends today. And, even if you are not keen on sharing, right? Take some time to internalize, to reflect on this. And hopefully I'll engage some of your responses in next week's session. We'll see how that goes. And so I wish all of you a good day, a good week ahead. And I'll see you for next week's Motivating Monday. Thank you for tuning in. Bye.
Holy